So my name is Jech. I'm the Executive Director of the Red Wing Environmental Learning Center, and it's an outdoor program that started in 1970. It's one of the oldest outdoor education centers in the state of Minnesota, to my knowledge, and it's an outdoor program for youth, so we get them out hiking and backpacking and rock climbing, winter camping, pretty much anything you can think of in the outdoors that's non-motorized is what we do. Our connection with the schools goes way back to when the program started. I mean, in 1970, this was really to be a resource for the schools kind of thing. And so we continue that drive and that passion to connect with the school and help as we can, wherever we can, with school programs and kind of add to programs. So forever we've been going into like the 6th grade classes talking about the history of fur trade and things like that. And so where we can augment and add to the classes, it makes perfect sense, because we can bring that resource and that knowledge that the teachers might not have or have access to. So that's really where it starts. And so the collaboration that we had at the school was the idea that some of these kids needed the opportunity to have a different kind of class. They weren't learning well in the traditional school setting. This was an opportunity to kind of drill down on some basic things like, cooperation, teamwork, communication, those kinds of things that these kids could really benefit from, that would be lifelong skills that they could use into the future. And so that's where the idea came from. We built a boat with Urban Boat Builders 2 years ago. And I kind of watched that process, and then we said, well, we could make this a whole year program if we really wanted to. And so that's where the idea came from. Bill Redman and support from the high school admin team and such made this a reality. And so we were able to offer a year-long course last year where we built a fishing rod, then we went out and used it, then we built a snowshoes, we went out and used it, and then we built a canoe. And so we were able to build those 3 things, and the plan is to do that similar program again this year. So without talking about specific students kind of thing, I think, speaking generally, and I'll talk about one student. I've talked with this student about this, and so he may recognize himself in this, but it was really interesting. Last year, so really 2 years ago, we had a student where if something didn't go right, it was the end of the day. Everything was done, and everybody around him was negatively affected by this one. Could be just something very simple, but it just ruined his day, and it ruined everybody else's day around him. And this year, we were building the fishing rods, and something similar happened, and throws everything down on the table, and you can just see it happening kind of thing. It's like, okay, so here's your choices. You can do that, or you can do this. And just such a growth in that he walked around the table once, calmed down, sat back down, got back to work. And so just that ability to focus and move past and kind of deal with the adversity that was in front of you was a huge thing. So that's one example. That ability to work together and just these just general skills that we worked on, I think are so life-changing for these kids, and I think we saw that in them, and I think they saw that in themselves, which is pretty cool. I think the only other thing that I'd really stress or highlight is that kids learn in a variety of ways, and this hands-on opportunity for some kids is exactly what they needed. It's not for every kid, but these kids in particular are hands-on kids, and they want to be involved, and they want to learn as they go. And that boat is a perfect example. I mean, I had hoped to build a boat before they came in so I could say, okay, here's how we do it. And the time just didn't allow for it, the finances didn't allow for it, and so we did it together. And it was, I kept stressing to them, I know as much as you know about this, and we're figuring this out together, and what we get is what we're going to get from this, together. So that was pretty cool to learn as we go together, and they could see that, and there was no frustration there. It was just like, yeah, okay, let's do that. So we even changed how we were building the boat midstream, because we kind of found that one way wasn't working, and we'd heard of another way, and so we tried that, and lo and behold, that works so much better. So that was a better way. So every time you learn, it's just that constant improvement that we keep shooting for, and these kids really bought into that. So it was really cool for them to have that hands-on learning. A lot of times students in our program aren't the best kids scholastically. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times they just do better in the outdoors, and just that opportunity to get outdoors, change the scenery, it helped them. And so beyond what they got out of it, I said this before too, that going back to school, their positive energy and their different attitude helped the kids around them too, I think. So you're changing more than just those 10 kids that were in this class.